Hello and welcome everyone to ERL Racing tonight for round number 6 of today's calendar. We are here at Belgium Spa-Francorchamps for round number 6, obviously, which I just said a few seconds ago. But the drivers are already starting their first runs in qualifying as we watch Charlie Harris head down towards Rouge, which he'll head down now, and then up through Radion, down then the Kemmel Straight, and we'll be heading now towards the Lescoms chicane, of course, and into the Lescoms chicane, into, I think this is Malmy, or Malmy or something, then down the hill, which I think this is corner with no name, obviously. So we're going to get some track stuff, data, stuff. And then we can obviously see where the drivers are at, and Lewis does a 1:42.9, pretty rapid lap that is, sorry, 1:42.5, but Ali goes even quicker, so obviously we'll stay with Charlie, as was obviously on board with him for this first run, of course. And he is coming through Blongemont now and into the bus stop chicane, of course, to complete the lap of Belgium and what will be his first lap time of the day. This is going to be a 1:42.590, which is good enough for P4 so far. So that's a pretty solid effort, I suppose, for Charlie, who is currently 4th. Obviously, he's invalidated. Right, Beggarsman or Oscar coming around the final corner now himself and goes P6. So P6 for the Alfa Romeo driver then. I presume that's Gerthwaite, or Gerthwaite, I presume it's pronounced there. As he heads up the hill, is on the medium tyres, of course, for qualifying. Not going to be the best compound of tyres for this qualifying day. As Danny goes to the top of 1:41.7, and Danny had a really good debut. I believe it was his debut last time out in Silverstone 2 weeks ago. Of what I recall, and he had a really good debut, obviously won on his debut race of what I remember, so pretty good for Danny. Nonetheless, the Aston Martin driver heads down the hill through, I think that's Toulon, if I'm correct. Pretty sure that's Toulon, could be a bit wrong in that. Obviously, I'm not really too familiar with corner names around Belgium. To be fair, I'm not really too familiar with corner names around any of the circuits. I just know how to drive them, which is always good. But Robbo goes absolutely even faster and does a 1:41.7. So very tight between Danny and Robbo at the top of them there. Not sure where this lap is going to exactly go. Well, it's going to be an invalidation anyway, so that's the end of that. As we see Waffler on a hot lap now. Obviously, Waffler has, well, I've commentated on Waffler a few times now, so he's a pretty solid driver, I'd have to say. So, yeah, obviously drives, I think, ERL, if I'm correct, as well. Not sure if he's in any other league. But yeah, pretty decent driver, but unfortunately for him, goes wide then there, and that will be an invalidation for him, as Mustafa is the next driver on a lap. Then, as he comes through Blongemont now, up towards the bus stop chicane, and just a couple more corners to tackle. Pretty much the final two, always a bit of a, well, it's a bit of a chicane where you I kind of don't really like it, if I'm being truthful, to the end of the lap. I'm not sure what other drivers think of the bus stop chicane, because, you know, kind of, compared to the rest of the track, it kind of feels a bit of a misplacement, in my opinion, overall. Like, the rest of the track is very fast and flowing, whereas the bus stop chicane feels obviously very much the opposite, very lethargic. Obviously, it is the slowest part, I think, of the track, besides the first corner, La Source. I think La Source is a bit slower than that, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, La Source for the race is going to be a very key fundamental corner for the drivers to get correct, because obviously you get it wrong at La Source, especially on lap 1, it's not going to end well, so hopefully we see no major incidents down at La Source. Well, this is La Source right now. Obviously, one of the things that make La Source very challenging for the drivers, especially at the start of the race, is the fact it's such a short run to the first corner, and you want to make up positions. Some drivers might get a good launch, other drivers get a bad launch, and that's all it takes really for accidents to be happening down there at the source. But for Appledorn, what can he do? 30.2 for the first sector, so pretty solid job. Obviously coming through then the comms section now, down the hill, and sadly for him that'll be a invalidation. So Girthquake is currently on another outlap, now on the soft compound. Obviously tried to attempt a run on the medium, and for him, obviously, is now on those soft tyres for himself. So down the hill he heads towards Rouge, and we go up the hill towards Radillon, and over the crest. It's a bit of a tow potentially there from the Alpine, and opens up the DRS down the Kemmel Straight, hitting 213, 214, 215 miles per hour as heads into the Les Combes chicane, and 30.4 for the first sector, so not as quite as good as Appledon, despite the obviously the tow potentially having there. Whether continues on with this lap, he will, and not giving up. So down the hill then, through Toulon, and into then, I'm not really sure what part of the circuit this is. I think this is Fangs, Le Fangs, and then into Campus, and then Paul Frette, or Fred. Just call it Paul. Corner Paul. Then there, turn 16, that is. And then obviously heading up towards Blondemont now, into the bus stop chicane shortly follows. To hit the brake, get the car slowed down. Taking a lot of the curb on the inside, almost literally jumping over that curb on the inside then there. And that'll be good enough for P12. So Oscar isn't improving, obviously he's invalidated. Anyone else improving? Well, we've got Zin, of course, who's improving a little bit as Patrick goes into third, down for himself. So Patrick moves up the provisional order. Currently the pole time is a 41.737, so not really much splitting the top two at least. In terms of what Porsche will have to do, in fourth, he is going to have to at least improve by half a second if he wants a shot at qualifying for today's pole, and will come into the pit lane and gives up on that lap. So I think Robbo is on a fresh lap, to be fair, and Robbo, as we ride on board with him, invalidate, and that'll be the end of that one for him. As Patrick heads down the hill, not sure if he's on a fresh lap or not. Does seem to be pushing if this is a in-lap. Certainly very aggressive, taking a lot of the track limit. And obviously, in terms of battery, obviously got 50%. So I do think this is a push lap, potentially, for Patrick. But he's 1.8 seconds down, so that answers my question. However, Doug did seem to be pushing a lot there. Not gonna lie. Not really improvement in there for anyone else improving. I don't really see anyone. So, pretty much waiting then for the drivers to begin their second or third run. And obviously everyone probably rushing around actually mates from our bench, having just scored it, probably rushing back to get to the pit lane. Obviously is a very, very long lap here in Spa, which for like the drivers does make it a bit stressful in terms of, I suppose, getting their laps in compared to maybe other circuits where, you know, well, Austria is a very short lap, so you can probably afford to maybe get 4 runs in if you wanted to, whereas here, obviously, given the length of the lap, you'd certainly struggle to get anything beyond like 2 or 3 laps. So yeah, for Robbo and for Patrick, that's probably why they were pushing a little bit on their in laps to make sure they get back around for what would be their final runs. And obviously their final runs will probably commence within a couple minutes, as we see, I think, Vadis starting a lap. I believe he's a Mercedes reserve, or a Mercedes reserve second for today. Pretty sure Charlie obviously is full time. I'm not sure about Vadis, pretty sure he isn't full time, but I'm pretty sure Martin Alton, Cavallo, might be Cavallo actually. K-A-V-O-L-L-S, yeah, Cavallo. So anyway, we'll just call him Cav. Cav going down the hill then in the second Mercedes. And obviously we'll see what he can do for them this lap. Next week we do have, by the way, on the 20th, well, we've got GRL versus ERL, which I thought I'd let everyone know. Obviously, I'm pretty sure everyone already knows, but yeah, we do have a league versus league race coming up this Sunday on the 20th for both GRL versus ERL, which should be a fascinating event, hopefully. So, be looking forward to see both of them both of the leagues go head to head. Obviously, I am in both, so kind of know some of the drivers quite well. And yeah, the interesting affair. And I do love league versus league racing because it creates a very interesting dilemma. And you know, obviously, it's not all about obviously yourself. It's about more. I feel there's more of a team aspect. You know, you're representing the league, of course. And Lewis trying to stay out of the way, but as he does so, taking out some of those brake marker boards, which isn't going to help anyone in terms of, you know, picking out their brake marker points. Still, Ali is on a hot lap, and Ali heads then down the hill, improving ever so slightly, not enough right now for the pole, I wouldn't say so. So, for Ali, he's not going to be on pole at the moment. However, things can change. So Danny's picked up a 5-second penalty for illegal blocking, which is going to hinder him no matter where he qualifies then today, as Ali then comes into the final part of the lap and into the final sector, improving by 3.49 tenths of a second, so 3.5 tenths of a second to the good then. Through the final sector, what can Ali do? Is he going to get pole? well, is probably a little bit shy at the moment, but can jump Porsche up into fourth. So, can he get past Vin Porsche, who currently sits fourth? I think this is going to be his target for today. Across the line now, and goes into fourth. So, who's next on a lap? I think out of the big three, it's going to be Patrick. So Patrick is improving by 96 thousandths of a second. Currently, that would be good enough for pole. So here comes Patrick. Then the Ferrari driver up towards Blondemont then, and takes Blondemont quite nicely. So into the bus stop chicane, only one or two more corners to navigate. Then through the final corner, out of the bus stop chicane, up to the line, keeps it nice and tight to the line, and that's a 1:41 for now. That is the provisional pole time. So, obviously we've got Danny on a lap, who has just been validated. So Danny is out of it. So, the only person who can take pole away from Patrick is Robbo, who is absolutely flying here. Is 2/10 to the good. Obviously done that 1:41.7 on his first run and is looking to improve into the bus stop chicane. One more corner to navigate. This should be pole position for Robbo unless he does a dramatic crash now. It is pole for Robbo. Oscar jumps into P3. Danny will be P4, however, 5th place. Ali only in 5th. Vin Porsche, can he improve? I don't think so. I think he's done his run. So I think that is qualifying, unless Charlie's got something to say. And in fact, Charlie is improving, so we'll keep on board with the Mercedes driver through the final chicane. He comes and going across the line now and jumps up into P7. So that was a very nicely put together lap in the end. So a pretty decent end to qualifying then there. So Robbo takes pole from Patrick, from Oscar, from Danny, but Danny does have a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be promoted down into, I believe, 8th or 9th. Then we've got Ali, and he will be promoted up into 4th. Then Porsche will be promoted up into 5th, followed by Charlie, who will be promoted up into 6th. Girthquake will be promoted up into 7th, and then I believe we'll have Danny, who will be starting this Grand Prix from 8th, once his 5-place grid penalty is applied. So that is the grid then. Got down to Girthquake, so I'm pretty sure he'll be up into 7th. Ross will start 9th, Appledorn in 10th, Lewis in 11th, 12th is True Lockgod, and then in 13th we got D-Mac. And then in 14th we got Man's Not Bob, in 15th AFK Mufasa, in 16th we got Luzan, or Luzan, in 17th we've got Cavols, in 18th we've got Brian, in 19th we've got Dudelay, and in 20th with no time we have also got Sir Waffler. So that is the Belgium Grand Prix grid, and it's looking like it's going to be a dry race here. Obviously 22 laps. It is actually one of my favourite circuits on the calendar. Cannot wait to drive it on Wednesday, to be fair with you. I do love Belgium. It is just such a nice circuit. And I know a lot of people say it's dangerous, and it is dangerous, but, you know, I always think, you know, like Martin Brundle said in his Sky Sports piece, you know, danger is a part of motorsport. And I'm not saying, obviously, you want to see catastrophes. Obviously, you don't. God forbid that. But I do think you need circuits like Spa, like Nürburgring, or like Indianapolis, like Silverstone, and like Monaco, just to, you know, make things different. Otherwise, you know, if we all had, you know, some of these more modern circuits like Miami, things would be so dull. Honestly, racing would be so boring. Like, yeah. So I think it's good to have good, decent circuits on the calendar, and certainly Spa-Francorchamps, or Spa-Francorchamps, is one of the better ones overall. So here we go then, and I believe there's a formation lap, which haven't seen one of those for a while. So Robbo will start from pole. He set the pole time and has chosen to go on the mediums. Whilst we look at that, we'll have a look at the strategies that some people have chosen to do. So Robbo is on the mediums. In fact, the top 5 are on mediums. There's a few hard runners on the track, plus a mixture of softs as well. So, yeah, real split in terms of strategic opinion here today. Obviously, personally, this is a track where I think the strategy can be mixed, obviously. So I'm not really too sure who's really got it right and who's got it wrong actually today, to be fair. I think the hard runners certainly have a good strategy, same with the mediums. In terms of the softs, like, I think you've got to get those softs to at least lap 10 in terms of to make that strategy work. So we'll see what the soft runners can do. Only Charlie Harris is the only one on the softs inside the top 10. And whilst we are obviously doing the formation lap, let's go on board and have a look at the driver's helmet then. So obviously we'll do a helmet sort of like review and select the best helmet in honour of Spray, who isn't currently with us today, which should be back next week. So looking forward to that, of course. And in terms of who I think's got the best helmet today, I am going to have to say I'm very I like Cavol's, very nice helmet actually. I think he's got a nice lid, but I think there was only one that really caught my eye, and I'm gonna say Vin Porsche. I quite like the look of his helmet today. I like the black, the red, and the yellow. It looks quite nice, in my opinion. Certainly from the onboard headshot, looks quite nice. So anyway, that's the helmet review over, and congrats to Vin Porsche, who gets my vote on that one. Obviously, we are going to go to 5 red lights sooner rather than later, as the drivers take their position on the grid then here for what will be the start of the Belgium Grand Prix. So, Robbo lines up on pole position. He is your pole sitter. And it will be 5 red lights. And it is lights out and away we go then for the Belgium Grand Prix. Quite a long hold in terms of for the drivers, and there's already been an incident. It is Patrick who has been spun around in turn 1, and in fact there's even more carnage at the back of the grid, so quite a number of incidents then as we head up then, well, head down into a Rouge up through Radion for the first time in this race, but Patrick managed somehow to keep in P3, which I'm not really sure or understanding how Patrick has exactly done that, but he has managed to do that despite being spun a little bit around in turn 1. But other than that, other than those few incidents at the back, it's been a perfect start for Robbo, who leads the way then here and will head down the hill then in the first lap of this Grand Prix. And Oscar then is behind, and you can already visually see the gap that Robbo's got. It must at least be well over a second, I would have to say and predict. And you can see Patrick, who is under pressure from Porsche, Vin Porsche at the moment, the AlphaTauri driver, who is going to be certainly, looking at P3 then here. Can he do it? Through Blanchimont he goes. This will be a very lovely move if he gets this one done. He does, gets it done before, just a little bit before, Max Verstappen-esque. That is sort of thing going on there from the AlphaTauri driver. Then Obviously, remember Verstappen overtaking, I think it was a Sauber back in 2015. It was in that corner. Absolutely beautiful that move was. And then Porsche doing a very similar move then there on Patrick on the Ferrari. And obviously, not sure if the Ferrari driver Patrick has got any damage. Obviously, visually can't see any, certainly not on his front wing. So anyway, up the hill we go. And I don't think Patrick's got any damage, because I think Patrick might look at getting his own back here as we head down the Kemmel Straight into the Lescombe chicane. And Patrick, I don't think, has got that move done. Nope, he remains behind the AlphaTauri driver for now. And apparently, Robbo's got a 1 minute 47 second lead. Obviously, he hasn't, not well, at least not at this stage in the Grand Prix. Because if he had, I think for everyone else, you might as well pack your bags and go home, sort of thing. But pretty sure it'd probably be only about a couple seconds. Visually on the mini map, Tony has got a good lead, maybe 2 or 3, well, 2 seconds I'm going to estimate at the moment. As through the corners, Patrick just doesn't seem to be able to hang with the other cars, so maybe he has got a bit of damage to that car. I think this would indicate seems to have a bit of, you know, understeer. But anyway, Ross is going to have a go then on the Ferrari, and obviously getting the move done before Blondemont then there and into the bus stop. In terms of straight line pace, don't seem to be too bad for Patrick, but Ross is now up into 4th place, and Robbo setting the timing screens alight with, again, a 1:45 already. Absolutely flying he is. And you can visually just see that's the gap between then our 2 race leaders. It's 2.7 second gap for then the Alpine driver of Robbo, who leads from the Alfa Romeo of Oscar, who currently sits in second and been chased down by Vin Porsche. But we see Patrick goes for a move, gets the DRS, and this time gets the move done. But through the corners, that is where Patrick seems to be hurting at the moment, and seems not to be, well, seems not to be able to capitalise. But as said that, Vin Porsche is out of the race. So is Sir Waffler, and so is Cavals. So we've lost 3 drivers all in the space of a matter of seconds. I'm not sure if Cavals and Waffler got caught up in the same exact accident then there of Vin Porsche. I'm not exactly sure what actually happened to Vin Porsche, as we were concentrating on the battle for Patrick, but that has, well, unleashed a safety car. And obviously for the medium runners and for the hard runners, this safety car probably isn't the best timing, it's because it's early on. For the soft runners, however, I mean, obviously you can now get let's say, the hards on, or get on those mediums and maybe try and, well, I don't think mediums could go to the end, but certainly maybe hards could go to the end. So, you know, I guess if you are on the mediums, I guess you could go to the end on the hards as well. I didn't think of that, because Robbo has jumped into the pit lane. And on goes the hards. Now, for Patrick, I want to see if he has a wing change. And indeed he does. So, for Patrick, in he comes. This isn't going to be ideal for Mans Not Bob, who currently is obviously going to be held up by his teammate, obviously, for a very long time. And he might be, well, one of the biggest losers out of all of this. So Oscar leads the way then. Oscar has chosen to stick and not twist in this safety car, which, fair enough, to be fair. It is a very early caution we got here at Belgium, in all fairness. Not the most earliest, it could have been sooner, in all fairness, because obviously we did have quite a number of incidents at turn 1 in lap 1. Quite a lot of drivers win into each other, and the other AlphaTauri is out of the race, so both AlphaTauris will not score points in this race. That is a shame for them. However, for Charlie, it does mean he'll gain another position, and there are now only 17 runners and riders. How many drivers are going to finish today? I suppose this would be the big question, but this is our first actual safety car at Belgium for this race, and obviously Belgium is a long lap, so it will take the drivers a bit of time to catch up to the back of the pack, especially those who were already further behind. But for Oscar, leading the way, and might as well do the championship standings whilst we are on it, because obviously it'd be good to know what everyone's championship standings are looking like. So in terms of drivers, Patrick is currently your championship leader and currently 6 points ahead of his championship rival, who is nice job, who isn't here today. Then you've got Ali, who is also 6 points, who currently is behind Patrick. So for Ali, he needs to finish ahead of Patrick in terms of full potential to obviously get ahead of his rival. Otherwise, you've got Danny, who is back, obviously won last time out, got 25 points. So Danny is only, after one race, 33 points off the championship lead overall, so not bad. In terms of constructors, AlphaTauri currently lead the way with 102 points, from Ferrari with 95 points. Then we've got Aston Martin with 58 points, and Haas we've got with 41 points, with Mercedes currently sat 5th on 28 points. So those are your top 5 drivers overall. If you've got any comments, by the way, feel free to leave them down in the chat. So yeah. So, lap 5 of this 22 lap race here at Belgium, and the safety car should, well, probably be in soon as we head then into the 5th lap. Obviously, Oscar will have the opportunity to lead everyone away. Robbo is currently, where is Robbo? Currently sat down in 5th, so 5th place at the moment for Robbo, who obviously we know he's got some very, very good pace today so far from what he's shown us. And big question is, can those cars get to the end of the Grand Prix? I would have to say yes, or I will say yes, but obviously regardless whether I say yes or no, still a long stint, and for Oscar, well, he will be able to control the pace. So for Oscar now, it's his prerogative of when to go. He does have to wait though until the safety car gets back to the pit lane, and technically that is the rules. Not sure when he is going to go in this one, and I think he's trying to go a bit too soon. And yeah, he's gone now, and he's kind of left Ross either way, you know, a little bit for dead there, to put it into perspective, and not have a good start, but out of that chicane gets a little bit of Wilson, and for Ross, he's going to be quite nicely onto the back of the Alfa Romeo, only 4/10 behind. So is this going to be close enough for Ross, who maybe attempt to move up the hill, goes a bit wide over the crest, corner cutting it a little bit, but is going to deploy all his batteries potentially here, down the straight then with a bit of slipstream, decides it's not worth the risk and backs out, obviously, of that move pretty wisely. But for Robbo, he's going to be the one probably to watch then here, because we know how quick he is, but has to deal with some of these back markers and gets past Mac pretty quickly then and promotes himself up into fourth. Obviously, Patrick is going to be another driver to watch because obviously he shouldn't have any damage now, so he could also be a driver who can now go on a charge and let loose and fly around this Belgium circuit, as we are going to have another safety car then. So we've already got our second safety car period within 6 laps of this race. So yeah, that one didn't take long to trigger, only half a lap of racing then, of real racing, and we're already on the second safety car as True Lock God is out and Mufasa is without a bit of a wing then there. Not sure if anyone else has got any sort of damages to their vehicle. Don't appear to have, but obviously you never know really with the game, because you know, sometimes from my point of view, might not see the damage, but obviously damage could be there a bit undetected. So obviously those drivers, certainly with the damage, is going to jump into the pit lane, and Oscar, surprisingly, is still going to lead. So I'm not sure why Oscar is going to stay out. Same with obviously Ross and Lewis, and obviously, Mac, because obviously they do have old tyres in terms of tyre life. You know, I'm not really sure what's going to be the value of them sticking out. Obviously, not really sure what Mac is doing there, because obviously you're not allowed to overtake on the test. I hope he knows that, and I hope obviously everyone knows all of that. But yeah, for Patrick, lap 6 then we go, and he currently is, you know, in 6th place, with not lap 6, we're on lap 7 now, aren't we? But yeah, so far 2 safety cars, and we'll wait once again for then the leaders to regroup and go to the back of the grid and see what everyone can do, of course, once more. Again, it will be Oscar who will have the prerogative on the safety car restart of when to go. However, you know, does Ross now know what Oscar is going to do? So will we see Oscar try to shake things up here and do something a bit differently? Or what's going to happen, I wonder? So this will be the interesting thing to, I suppose, watch. Plus Robbo, obviously still relatively got fresher tyres compared to those who are around him, and potentially this race does have the potential to turn into a 2-stop race now, I would have to say, because, you know, I don't really know whether this benefits, well, I guess it benefits those who've already made their stops to some degree, because, you know, but those who haven't made their stops, I don't really know what they will benefit from. Their tyres will still be relatively fresh, as I thought Oscar was going to come in then, but decides not to. So safety car should be in, I suppose, at the end of this lap, I would have thought. So we're soon going to find out and see. So, obviously, it is a very long lap here for the safety car. So, obviously, safety car should be in at the end of this lap. Still got over, well, half a lap to go before it does peel off into the pit lane for the second time within this race. Obviously, one of the things that obviously all these safety cars could do is cause the drivers to become a little bit lethargic, which hopefully they don't, obviously, and lose that, well, hopefully that none of them lose that rhythm that they have built up, or, you know, still building up. But safety car is going to be once again in at the end of this lap. So, once again, it will be Oscar's decision of when to go. So Oscar backing them up. Again, does have to wait until the safety car reaches the pit lane. And then he can put his foot down and decide when to go. This time going a little bit later, I feel, compared to the last time. Certainly holding them longer, most definitely. And Du Delay has picked up a 5-second penalty with Earthquake for then that, and Oscar has gone now. This time gets a bit of a better jump and builds up a 6/10 lead then over Roth, then, who then follows the Alfa Romeo around then, as we can see. And currently the Alpine is looking pretty much like he could push Lewis pretty much all the way through all these corners. Hopefully he doesn't tap the back of Lewis in there. That would be my biggest fear. And gets the move done very cleanly indeed. And we can see also Patrick trying to make a challenge on the other Williams then, and Patrick obviously doesn't go for it then on DeMac then there for 5th place. So, you know, Ali is also, sorry, not Ali, Earthquake is also coming at the Ferrari of Patrick then, as we can just see. Look how tight these group of drivers are. Obviously, Du Delay has got a penalty as well for good measure, but these 4 cars really close to one another currently on the circuit, and this is the battle for 5th. But we can also see Robbo, he's wasted no time, and he is soon going to be looking at breezing past that Red Bull. Can he get it done into Blanchimont? He is going to try it, and he's going to do it easily before, in fact, Blanchimont. That was as easy as, you know, anything you've ever seen. Pretty much as easy as Max Verstappen rocketing his Red Bull rocket ship past everyone else in a Grand Prix, literally. So next up, or his next victim, will be Oscar, who will be, well, I'm not sure whether he'll fight this, because is there really a reason to fight it? I mean, you're pretty much going to be overtaken, whether you like it or whether you don't here. And I don't really see what, you know, Oscar can do to defend it. And we'll go on board with the Alpine driver, who's going to make up this position. Should be a very easy one to get. However, for Oscar, he obviously Robbo at bay. That's a bit surprisingly, but you can just see how much more grip Robbo has got. And, you know, I really hope that this doesn't end in a, you know, collision. That's why I hope it don't end in. But can Robbo go around the outside at the corner with no name? Yes, he can, and gets the move done. Absolute beautiful move to take, or to retake the lead of this Grand Prix off Oscar. You cannot fault that. And going back then to the battle for 5th, it's still Patrick who is in 6th, as we see Danny then making a move around the outside of Earthquake. then for 7th, and he is up into 7th. Obviously, would have probably been in the top 4 in qualifying had it not been for that 5th place grid penalty. So obviously we know he's got pace in this race, and someone spun. I'm not really sure who spun. It was Ross. Ross spun. So Ross has spun and lost that P3 in this Grand Prix. That's going to be a long day for him because he's still to make that pit stop, of course. And on those 9-lap-old hards, well, you know, it's not going to be an easy comeback for him. But Mac is doing a fabulous job at defending all of this, and you can just see how many cars he's got behind him. Looks like the M25, what he's got behind him, literally on a busy morning. Literally, well, he's got a bit of a traffic jam, all lining up to get past him. I think a couple are going to get past him here, but can Danny get a double move done? Indeed, you bet he can, and Danny up into 4th. Absolutely fantastic still from Danny to overtake not just D-Mac, but also our championship leader Patrick, who is now into 5th, who isn't having the happiest of times out there. And Mac is going to come back at the Ferrari driver a little bit. I'm not sure whether it'll be a complete comeback. I don't think it will, but yeah, not the best days for Patrick, have to say. But for Mac, have to say he's doing a really good job of defending all of this. Isn't being too controversial, even though a bit controversial there. Having said that, you know, a little bit of contact, but I think he's doing a really good job actually, to be fair, keeping all these drivers behind. He's being as clean as what I would say, you know, he can be in this current scenario on those 10-lap-old hards, you know, and obviously Ross has retired, and therefore we've got a 3rd safety car. So 3rd safety car of the race, and we are going to see probably drivers come back into pit, whether they are on older or younger tyres, and literally this pit lane is about to get, well, very, very busy. Pretty much everyone is coming in. However, Mufasa remains out, so is Mufasa going to take the lead of the Grand Prix here? He might do. We'll soon find out. I think Dudalay will take the lead, but Mufasa comes out. I'm not sure whether he was ahead, I don't think he was, but almost came out ahead of Robbo, or was he ahead? I'm not really too sure what's going on between these two. Hopefully they'll sort it out in accordance and properly. But yeah, 3rd safety car then of the day, and hopefully this one, well, be at least a couple of laps, so probably won't be racing until the end of lap 13 again, which obviously means Dudalay currently leads the Grand Prix from Charlie Harris, from now Robbo, from Mufasa, who currently sits in 4th. Oscar is in 5th, chosen to go for those softer compound tyres. Others pretty much all choosing the mediums, so Hugh's chosen to stick on their softs. I mean, I guess, you know, the question would be now, do you believe there's going to be a 4th safety car during this race? You know, which I suppose if you do, then it only makes logical sense to go on the mediums. If you don't, then I suppose the softs could be the correct strategic call here, in my opinion at least. But then, you know, I suppose you still have to do 11 laps on those softs to get them to their end. So for Oscar, that might just be a bit too far to stretch them in terms of for the win. But in terms of for a podium, I don't think it's impossible for both Alfa Romeos to end up on the podium here. Obviously, Patrick's got ahead again of Danny, who is back down into 8th. So yeah, and the Mac, who was doing an amazing job in 5th, defending, you know, very, very well, I have to say, is currently sat now 9th. So safety car obviously won't be in this lap, probably be in the next lap. I do wonder whether some of the leaders come in, because obviously I'm not really sure what they're going to really be able to do here. on those 8 or 6 lap hold tyres, but I presume they're going to go out. So they're obviously doing something different compared to the other drivers. But we'll soon see. So, again, just waiting for this safety car to end, and hopefully this will be the last safety car of this race, personally, because obviously, well, not really obviously, but, you know, when you have this many safety cars, beyond 3, sort of becomes a bit of a lottery, and I hope it don't become that in this case today. Hopefully, we have, not that lottery. Would like, just to see now racing from here to the checkered flag. That would be the ideal sort of a racing scenario. But nonetheless, we will soon see what everyone can do, and we'll soon learn, as the safety car is going to come in this lap, and it will be Dudelay who will lead us back to the green, and it will be his now prerogative of when to go. Does have to obviously wait once again till the safety car reaches the pit lane, and then he can put his foot down and go. Is backing them up a little bit more, I'd have to say. Obviously, there is a difference too, leading the race. Obviously, it is a very different front two compared to the last 2 restarts. The last 2 restarts was Oscar and Ross leading us back to the green. This time, it's Dudelay and Charlie, and it'll be down to Dudelay to now decide when to go. And I think he's gone, and indeed he has. Obviously, for Robbo Cousin can't overtake until the line, but I think he's got a brilliant restart then here, and absolutely does. And we have now got an Alpine 1 and 2 in this race. Robbo behind Dudelay. Obviously, I don't think it'll remain that way for long, but Dudelay is currently in first place and had a really good restart on that race restart then. Have to say that he got the jump really, really well from Charlie Harris in the Mercedes, and obviously so did Robbo. So Alpine 1-2 leading the way. Can they pick up 43 points? I don't know, but we'll soon find out. As we're seeing these two then, Danny and Patrick go side by side fighting for what would be then a potential championship battle then here. The Alfa Romeo fighting the Ferrari, Ferrari fighting the Alfa Romeo, both of them got the same engines, Ferrari powered engine then in that car, or in both of their cars, using that Ferrari power, the pair of them. And I'm not really sure, one of them I think went off the track. I'm not sure whether it was Patrick or whether it was Danny who went off the track. I think it might have been Patrick, but I think Patrick held his own, to be fair. Obviously Danny is pushing practically Patrick along, as we can see, but for Patrick, he's gonna look at getting the move then done on obviously Mufasa getting really, really close. Is this gonna end in tears? It almost ended in tears as Mufasa almost got spun around by Patrick as Patrick wins from the move in one of the most ambitious spots on the entire track zone there. And this has allowed Danny to get through, and Danny goes for the move down the inside on Mufasa. Can then this let Patrick get through? Patrick is going to come through also now, and someone I think has retired. It is Lewis. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We have got ourselves another safety car. So once again, another safety car in this race, and this is the fourth safety car of the day. I will say Bird Mylander has been absolutely excellent today. Driver of the day by all means so far for me. So I imagine everyone is pretty much going to jump into the pit lane and stick on some new soft tyres, because only about 8 laps in the race remaining, and given it's the fourth safety car interval, I doubt we're going to get a fifth safety car interval, or at least I hope not. Fingers crossed, touch wood we don't, because, you know, as I say, it's turning into a bit of a lottery in terms of the racing. And the trouble is, for the drivers, you know, when it turns into this lottery, I can understand it perfectly fine. You know, you kind of get into, I don't want to call it a bad mood, but you get unsettled, and, you know, in terms of the way you kind of race, you know, you're going to race completely differently, make mistakes, make passes that you probably shouldn't go for, become a bit desperate. And, you know, obviously we don't want to see drivers becoming desperate, or at least not. But yeah, in terms of Robbo, does he stay out? Because obviously he does have his teammate behind him, Dudele, who is on those older mediums, and Dudele is going to stay out. Okay, that's a bit of an intriguing call from the other Alpine. I'm a bit shocked as to why he hasn't come in, because I thought he would have come in then there, and he doesn't. So yeah, obviously a lot of drivers in fact haven't come in. A lot of drivers well, some drivers have. Obviously we've got Mufasa in, we've got Charlie Harris in, we've got Appledom in, we've got Man's Not Bob, and we've got Brian, who is also in. A lot of them going for mediums, which is taking me by surprise. So, yeah, I'm a bit taken by surprise here, if I'm being honest about this, because, you know, you're in your final safety car period. Why wouldn't you stick on a set of the softs? You know, obviously, if you don't have any sets of the softs, then fair enough, I suppose, but or if you've just stuck on new tyres a couple laps ago, then fair enough, I suppose, as well. But for Dudele, that's a very bold call. Unless he's decided, what's his penalty? Let's have a look. I just want to have a look at his penalty. So he's got 5 seconds. I mean, he could easily come in and serve that, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I'm not really too sure why Dudele's done this, in terms of why Dudele has gone and stayed out on those 12 lap hold mediums. We'll soon find out at the end of the race whether it works for him or not. I have my doubts, but yeah, we'll soon see. And we'll soon see what is the outcome of this race. Certainly been an intriguing affair so far, I have to say. Lots of safety cars, and hopefully safety car will be in, I think, at the end of this lap. FIA Esports Talent Scout says hello, FIA Talent Esports. In case you're obviously new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button for ERL. Obviously, not sure if there's a link in the chat. I am going to just leave a link in the chat to the Discord. Obviously, you can come join ERL, and obviously next week, just to make you all aware on this Sunday. It is ERL versus GRL, obviously league versus league racing, and obviously that will be a very exciting, hopefully, race. Hopefully we'll have 10 GRL drivers going head-to-head for what will be an absolute thrilling league versus league race. That's this Sunday, 20th of August, and just to give you a time on that, I think it'll be probably 8 PM overall, so soon find out what time that is quickly. Safety car stays out for another lap, so I just know it's 20th of August, and be racing at Zandvoort, so the Dutch Grand Prix, ERL versus GRL, on the 20th of August. Probably be 8 PM, I suppose, or suspect. So, yeah, we'll see how that will go, and hopefully that will be a brilliant, battle between the two leagues, and hopefully both leagues can do very, very well in that. So we'll soon see. But for now, we are concentrating on Tier 1 and on what should be then the final, 6 laps of this race. So far, Robbo's got the fastest lap. He's currently in the lead, and currently he is going to be the driver who will lead us back to the green on this race restart, which hopefully should be this lap, and hopefully we will soon see the drivers restart this race sooner rather than later. And safety car is in this lap. So we are going to go racing once more. And Danny has picked up 5-second penalty for a collision with, I think now D-Day Lay would have been, or maybe with his teammate. Not really sure who. But yeah, that's not going to help him out, because obviously with the field this bunched up now, any penalties that any of these drivers are going to have is going to be amplified even more. We saw in, I think it was Australia, how basically Carlos Sainz had that 5 seconds and went from, I think it was 5th or 3rd down all the way out to like 13th. It was ridiculous. But Robbo has gone, and he has got an absolute blinder of a restart. 1.3 seconds already. Obviously, that is from his teammate. Danny goes up the inside then at turn number 1, and we have got a driver out then who I think has retired in the pit lane. It's Mufasa, so it won't matter too much. Thank goodness it's in the pit lane, because I was about to have a heart attack if that was going to be another safety car. But here comes Danny down the Kemmel Straight, and Patrick is going to attempt to move also, and Danny gets through then on Dudelay up into P2 then. The Alfa Romeo driver goes. So, obviously Patrick can obviously still finish on the podium, and finish well on the podium as well for good measure. As we see Dudelay defending against this, so has he just played the team game and tried to, keep these drivers behind in a bit of an almighty effort to defend from everyone for the benefit of his teammate? I think he might have done, because you can see he's not giving up this 3rd position easily, despite the 5-second penalty. Are having to barge their way through, as he's still ahead. I thought he was behind there, but no, he's still ahead. But here comes Oscar. Oscar then goes around the outside into Blondremont, gets the move done, and that is then Oscar through. As so does then Patrick go through. So Patrick is also through, a key move for his race, because let's not forget, Danny has got a 5-second penalty. So if you're Oscar here, I mean, should he back Patrick up a little bit into the catch, play a bit, I don't want to say dirty, but you know, obviously, it would be a genuine fair tactic, I suppose, to do with 3 laps to go. Try and help out your teammate Danny, you know, help Danny out for the benefit of Alfa Romeo, I suppose, to get a double Alfa Romeo podium, which would be good news for that team indeed. But for Oscar, I don't think he's going to do that. He doesn't seem like the type of driver maybe to go and do that. And for Patrick, I mean, he probably wouldn't want to do that. Obviously, Patrick is on mediums, thus Danny on those softs. And for him, well, obviously that will be a bit beneficial because obviously in maybe the last lap or 2 of the race, those softs are going to start to fade away. But for Robbo, obviously leading the way in this Grand Prix by 1.5 seconds by quite a nice margin. As Ali is out, and oh my days, we've got another safety car. Another safety car in this race. It's our 5th safety car, and literally with only now, what, 4 laps to go, or however many, I don't even know how many laps there are to go, with 3 or a couple laps to go, it is a 5th safety car, in this race. Are all the drivers going to jump in? Well, Danny's going to jump in, obviously. I presume that's for another set of those tyres. Can get rid of his 5-second penalty though, so that could be a bit beneficial for him actually in this one. Not sure if we're going to see anyone else coming in here. Dudelay still staying out on those mediums, so he's deciding, you know what, the mediums are good enough for him. Then here, not sure what these drivers are exactly doing because, you know, yeah, again, you know, I'm not sure what on earth are they actually doing here. Like, literally, I mean, you can catch a safety car, shouldn't be any delta. Obviously, for Robbo, he's also not really catching the safety car. I'm not really sure what's going on. Unless it's a bit of a screen glitch on my screen. We've had that before. But no, I think Robbo was just waiting for everyone to catch up. But I'm not sure what Oscar and Patrick was exactly doing in that. Because obviously going side by side during the safety car period, well, shouldn't be allowed. Or I don't think is allowed. So, you know, obviously, yeah. Not really sure what them 2 were up to. Obviously, Danny is on those fresh softs. He's going to be so quick. I tell you what, if there's, I don't know how many laps to go, let's just say there's about 2 laps to go. Let's say the safety car decides to come in at the end of this lap. Danny is in a great position to go and get maybe even the win here. I know that sounds very ambitious from P8. But he is on 8 lap younger tyres, and tyres in this game are so beneficial. If you've got fresher rubber, literally you can be seconds a lap quicker than your rivals. And the safety car is in this lap, so Danny is going to be certainly the driver to look out for. I'm not sure what Dudelay can do on those 16 lap old mediums. He is going to be a sitting duck, but yeah, we'll have to see. So, once again, Oscar's been in this position before, sort of. Robbo has also been in this position before. Obviously, should know how to restart a race anyway. I don't have any doubt about that. But for all of them, this is going to be then the opportunity to see. And I think Robbo's gone now. So Robbo has gone. He's restarted the Grand Prix and we are back to racing. Obviously no one can overtake the other until we get to the start finish line, and it is now we can go racing once more. So everyone can overtake from now on. And obviously Danny is going to be the driver to watch as Danny goes down the inside of Charlie Harris, gets the move done. He hasn't left a little bit of, well, a lot of room. But Charlie is still fighting and is still going side by side. Obviously, Charlie isn't going to give it up. And is he going to give it up into Radion and into a Rouge? No, tries not to, and is still going to fight with the Alfa Romeo driver. Is going to come back at the Alfa Romeo driver. Is he going to overtake the Alfa Romeo driver? Or will the Alfa Romeo driver stick it on the inside? The Alfa Romeo driver does stick it on the inside, but I'll tell you what, Charlie Harris has stuck it on the inside of him and absolutely destroyed, unfortunately for him, Danny's race. So for Danny, that is going to be huge disappointment then for the two. Both of them did touch a few times going through that section of track, but for Oscar and for Patrick, this is only good news for them two, because them two in the championship, will extend their lead a lot over than the others. And yeah, this is going to be a podium for them two, as we see, who was it? I think it was Dude Lay spinning around, and he's in the gravel, and he is out, deciding to retire on the track then there. So he is out of the Grand Prix, and that is his race over. So Danny up into 10th, and will take the top 10 position. However, that's going to be no constellation for the Alfa Romeo driver then there. So we're on the final couple of laps then. And I did say, this is why so many safety cars, do become problematic, because, drivers stop thinking about, themselves and just start becoming a bit crazy in some sense. Even me as a commentator, I feel like, a bit lethargic now overall, if you understand what I mean. A bit fatigued after watching, basically an hour of this race almost. Or beyond that, shouldn't be taking this long, but, been a lot of safety cars, but providing also a lot of entertainment as well. Can't criticise the entertainment factor of this race, because there's been plenty of that, and certainly a lot for the highlight reel. So, yeah, and I think pretty much it doesn't look like everyone has pulled out a gap on each other, and I think that will be that, unless Patrick can get past Oscar in this final lap and a half. So we're on the final lap, but for Robbo, I think this will be not an easy victory, but it'll be a victory he will be happy to finally see go his way, because he's pretty much had to deal with everything, all the challenges that he's faced, and there's been a lot of them today. A lot of not necessarily questions asked of him, but there's been a lot of things, possibilities that could have gone wrong for, obviously, Robbo in this race. A lot of times where, there's been a safety car, and, safety cars can ruin your race as much as they can make it as well. But for Robbo, he's managed to basically not crumble under any of those obstacles, and is going to come into the bus stop chicane now for the final time, around the bus stop chicane, out of the final corner, and takes the Belgium Grand Prix win for round number 6. Robbo wins. Oscar comes home in P2. Patrick will take P3, rounding out the podium spots. Then we got Mac in P4. Great race from him. Girthquake in P5. Then we got Appledorn in P6. Man's Not Bob P7. And I'll go through the rest of the grid once it loads up. But well done to, obviously, Robbo, who wins then that Grand Prix. Congrats to him, has to be said. I think he's done a fantastic job out there. So he deserves that praise. So we'll look at our podium first. There is your podium finishers, and it is obviously Robbo taking the top step of the podium from Oscar in P2 and from Patrick, or Taka Patrick, in P3. So he'll be very proud of that, and they'll spray the champagne, and that is the podium celebration then at the Belgium Grand Prix. So here is the grid then, the final order. Robbo wins from Oscar by 1.8 seconds, from Patrick in 3rd. 4th we have Mac, 5th we've got Quake. In 6th we've got Appledorn, in 7th we've got Man's Not Bob, and Danny in 8th. Charlie Harris is in 9th, and rounding out then the top 10, we have got Brian with 23 seconds of penalties. The did not finishers, but classified, we have got Dude Lay. And then the did not finishers, we have got Waffler, Cavolvus, Then Porsche, Luzon, or Lozon, True Lock God, Ross, Lewis, Mafasa, Ali is the final, did not finish. So we've got overall 8 or 9 did not finishers overall from that race, which yeah is almighty lot, and a lot of penalties as well for good measure, and probably more to come in the stewards room after race. In terms of my driver of the day, I'm going to give it to Mac because, you know, as much as Robbo, you know, I think did really, really well, you know, I think he done fantastically. However, you know, he certainly had the pace to win that. But Mac, I've not really seen him race before. And to finish P4, I think is a fantastic result for him, the Williams driver. I'm not sure if he's just a reserve stand-in or, you know, whatever. But, yeah, Mac is getting my personal driver of the day. So well done to Mac on that. And next up, I believe, is... Where is next? Obviously, next up, I think we've got... let's have just a quick look at the calendar again. Pretty sure after this, it's a Zandvoort. So it is actually Zandvoort next week. So next week, Monday, we've got Zandvoort. Obviously, Sunday, we've got Zandvoort for ERL versus GRL. So obviously, come back then until the next time. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe, like the live stream if you've enjoyed today's race. And until the next time, have a great evening, have a great day, and have a great week. See you all next time.